Oh yeah, Kurumi, always welcome guests. Ronald Reagan said that the greatest leader is not the one who does the greatest things, but who gets people to do the greatest things. We face leadership challenges in our day-to-day life. For example, it can be as trivial as planning a trip together with our friends. In order to plan a trip together, we need someone who can get everyone together, decide on a trip, like make a plan, etc. Even raising kids require leadership. Whenever we need to deal with a group of people, we need someone who can guide them towards their common goal. People on their own can achieve a lot of great things, but when they need to work together in group, things become chaotic. That's when they need a leader to guide them. We need leaders. We need to choose select good leaders to grow in our personal and professional life. When we were kids, we all looked up to our parents for leadership. We learned from them how we should talk in social situations, how we should behave, etc. When we start a new job, we need a mentor who can guide us in our day-to-day tasks. Isaac Newton said, "If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulder of giants." What he meant was, all his scientific discoveries were possible because he had access to the scientific literatures of all the physicists like Galileo, Kepler, Copernicus, etc. It wouldn't have been possible for him to come up with all those discoveries if if he didn't have access to the scientific research of all those physicists before him. It is similar for us. If we want to grow in life, now, if we try to do everything on our own without guidance from others, we would have spent most of our time coming up with things which we could have easily learned had we asked mentorship from others. This is why it is important to choose a good leader to grow in life. Now, a good leader always puts as much effort in completing a task as any member of his team. When I was a kid, I wasn't good at mathematics. So my father used to teach me mathematics every day after coming from office. If he wanted, he could have hired a tutor, or but that wouldn't have made me as interested or good at mathematics as a tutor wouldn't put an effort. A tutor wouldn't have put as much effort in me as my father did. When I saw my father putting effort, it made me work harder. A good leader also doesn't need to have technical skills in the field in which he's leading. For example, one of the most successful businessmen of recent time is Elon Musk. Uh, he might not know how to build electric cars or space rockets, but he has still built Tesla and SpaceX. In 2001, no one would have thought electric cars would be common on streets, or a private company could launch space rocket. Although his leadership style might be authoritative, but he is still a successful leader. Uh, One of the most common leadership style is authoritative leadership. Now, the crux of this leadership is that the leader usually has more knowledge than a member of his team. Uh, uh, in democracies, most of the politicians usually have authoritative leadership style. Now, one of the examples of successful authoritative leadership is of Lee Kuan Yew. He was the Prime Minister of Singapore from 1950 to 1990. When he became Prime Minister, Singapore had just become independent and it was one of the poorest countries in the world. It didn't have any natural resources to fuel its economy. So they decided to make an offer to Malaysia to join the country, but Malaysia refused, stating that they would be a burden on their economy. But now Singapore is one of the richest countries in the world. It was possible because of vision of Lee Kuan Yew. Although Singapore was a democratic country, but the Lee Kuan Yew had an authoritative leadership style, which many people believed was necessary to make Singapore a developed country. Now, one of the advantages of authoritative leadership is that decision making is usually much more faster and efficient. Now, one of the fields where authoritative leadership is necessary is in army, where if an army general is not authoritative, then soldiers will not follow his or her orders and risk their life in a battle. Now, another common leadership style is democratic. The crux of this leadership style is that the leader usually take input from his team members before making a decision. Most of the countries which we know follow a democratic system. However, the success of this leadership style depends upon the knowledge of team members. For example, most of the democracies fail if its majority of population are religious fanatics or follow particular ideology, or fanatics of a particular ideology. Now, the now although decision making is usually slow in this leadership, as a leader needs to take input from all of his team members before making a decision. Uh, and But decision making is usually much more efficient, not efficient, it's much more better, as because if we need to because the leader needs to discuss with his team members before making a decision, which makes decision making much more better. This type of leadership is mostly followed at companies like Google or Facebook, where they need creativity from their teams. A great leader impacts everyone's lives around them. Everyone knows about Thomas Edison. When he was a kid, he heard his school teacher tell his principal that Edison is adult, and it would not be worthwhile to keep him at school. So he went to his mother and cried. His mother got angry and went to the teacher and told him that he didn't know what he was talking about, and that Edison had more brains than him, and etc. So Edison later Edison said in an interview that at that moment I decided I would be worthy of her and show her that her trust was not misplaced. It was an example of great leadership shown by his mother, that she placed her trust in him and decided to put an effort in teaching him mathematics, reading, and writing. After that, he was homeschooled by his mother. Now, I would like to conclude my speech by saying that we all have different leadership styles through which we impact everyone around us. Thank you.